Welcome to Breakthrough, the podcast supported by the Arts Council, helping change the music industry, one episode at a time. Our next guest on Breakthrough is rising pop rock artist Cristina Hart, who has such an incredible story to tell about coming from Switzerland to the UK and diving into the grassroots of our local scenes. She's had an incredible few months recently, having opened for Louis Tomlinson back in Zurich of Switzerland for a full circle moment of where she started her musical journey. And she's got so much great advice for upcoming and emerging artists, and this is going to be a great episode. I really want you to soak this one up and enjoy. So, let's get into it. Cristina Hart, welcome to Breakthrough.
Hello.
How are you keeping? What's going on?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
It's great to have you here on the podcast because you are, if I can say so myself, an example of an artist. I feel in my mind, I've had the pleasure of following the career over the last few years. You've grafted so hard in the industry to get to where you are now. As we always start with this podcast, it's always a really cool place to go off in different directions. What would you say has been like your breakthrough up to now as an artist?
I think the Louis Tomlinson slot was a pretty insane moment for my career. I feel like there's a definite like before and after of that slot, just in terms of like, in terms of like the music getting a bit more like being discovered and being kind of like validated. You know, it's like the industry like stamp of approval that got me is pretty insane. And then I feel like, you know, new fans and just like even my self-belief is like, oh, like I wasn't completely delusional, like this can work. So it was
I would absolutely love to go more in depth on that as we go throughout the episode, because it's just such an incredible story and journey to see. Like it was a turnaround in a few hours, and like I know you made it happen. So that's really, really exciting. And I was so excited to go in depth for you a bit more because I've also had the pleasure of chatting to you over the years on various other things on the radio or certain other things like that. But because like a radio interview is like only 10, 15 minutes, it's kind of like, well, I did this and I did that. So hopefully today's like a really good opportunity to like really get into the beginnings as well of things. And can you take me back to being in Switzerland, because you were born there, right? And I don't know how long you sort of grew up there before you sort of came to the UK, but like what was that like growing up in a completely different country?
I mean, I loved growing up in Switzerland. It's a beautiful country. I think because I was always very passionate about music and creativity, it just wasn't necessarily like the right place to kind of nurture that creativity. I think in the UK, there's a lot of schemes that kind of allow nurturing your creativity from a very young age, whether it's like, you know, doing BTEC instead of A-levels and things like that. Whereas for me, I kind of stopped being even allowed to study music in school 2 years before you graduate. Like it's not even an option to take music as an option where I was. So I think I was just kind of lacking that sense of, you know, nurturing my creativity. But it was a beautiful country to live in, and I miss it for many reasons, but I think I made the right decision moving here.
What is music like in Switzerland? I assume maybe you have still friends and some family back there, and like how influenced by the UK or not by like the Western world is it? Is that why you felt like you had to make the move? I feel like my kind of insight into music was obviously like radio, just like driving in the car with my family, and it was always, you know, chart music. So I feel like I know all the like the hits that were, you know, in France and the UK and the US. But even a lot of hits that were like very, very British never made it quite to Switzerland. It's kind of like, you know, it's just like you were locked out from it.
Just like chart music. And my family isn't particularly like, you know, just into music in that sense. So I feel like it was. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So in your family, on that point, would you consider yourself the odd one out?
In terms of musical, well, it's an interesting one because the reason I started wanting to sing is because I wanted to be my older sister, because she started doing singing lessons and she sang at like an end of school performance, and I saw her and I was just like, oh my God, she's incredible.
My big sister.
I want to be like my big sister. And then I just took it way too seriously. And then here
we are.
She kind of like, she, you know, just got a normal job and I just completely ran with it.
Yeah, you stole her thunder.
Yeah, completely.
Don't want to cause a family rift on the podcast right now.
Yeah.
But so then when you first came to the UK to pursue music, firstly, when was that? How soon into that was that? And how did that feel like landing on UK soil for the first time?
So I moved here when I was 18. So it was a little while ago now. And I was 18, head full of dreams, so much like passion and ambition that I was just like, anything can happen. And I was a bit naive, which I think is not necessarily like a bad thing, but I was just, here to make my dreams happen. But I also had zero industry connections. I knew nothing about the music industry. I didn't even know how to record myself like with a mic. Like everything here.
Oh, so it was like a complete from the ground up.
Yeah, from the ground up. Because like I said, like there was no like music option or recording or production. That wasn't really something I had access to. So I feel like when I moved here, the learning curve was incredibly steep. It was like uphill battle. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself when I was at uni, that I was like, I have to have made it by the end of uni, because otherwise do I need to go back to Switzerland or what does it mean? And that was like a big struggle, because I think it made me more anxious than I probably needed to be. Yeah. But then, I feel like here I am. I've stayed here. Yeah. But it was definitely like lots of ups and downs.
So what, like we have music lessons obviously at school in the UK, of course, but like, is that maybe not something that is widely encouraged back in Switzerland when you were coming up through school?
No, not necessarily. No. It's like 1 or 2 hours a week. Right. I think 1 hour of music. Yeah. And then there's no like clubs, like after school clubs. Yeah. Extracurricular we'd call it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's, I feel like that's very American.
Sorry, extracurricular activities over here. Sorry about that.
And so in Switzerland, I did the Swiss equivalent of like A levels, which is like maturité, like maturity, the literal translation.
There's the first bilingual mention. There we go. I like it.
And you had either the option, like your arts option was between like design, like drawing, or music. And I chose music, and it was 2 hours a week, and that ended 2 years before I graduated. So I was like, well, that's a bit lame. No, okay, but I started like little bands with my friends and stuff. That's cool. So we'd still try to do music, but it wasn't like embedded in like what I had to do for school. I had to do that outside of school. Yeah, and like the Swiss system is pretty intense. Like you have so many disciplines, and it's just like a lot. So. Yeah,
but that's there now. We're in the UK.
I left it. Yeah.
You, country aside, wherever you are, what were the first bands that you were like in, or did you have names? What music were you making? Like kind of things. Did you think it was any good?
I feel like looking back, you have a different, outlook on it. But I started more as a singer. So I feel like vocalists, like old school vocalists were what I looked up to. So like Whitney Houston, Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, like all those, Mariah Carey, all those very big singers. And speaking of my sister earlier, she sang Through the Rain by Mariah Carey. So that was like, like the big vocal moment.
Right in front of you,
And so I feel like that was what got me into music. And I was really obsessed with like vocal technique. I used to be the kind of singer that would ad-lib way more than you probably should.
Where's my vibrato?
Yeah, exactly. And just like the belts and like the whistle notes. And then I had a chat, because my whole family knew I wanted to make music. And I always said like, I'm gonna do music. That's what I'm gonna do with my life. And one of my aunts, like she wasn't being mean when she said this, but she was like, but so are you gonna sing other people's songs for a living? Like, what do you want to do? And I was like,
it was that whole conversation of get a normal job vibe.
I was like, I've actually never thought about the fact that if I want to do this, like, do I start writing my own songs, or do I just sing other people's songs? Because it's like, there's no right or wrong, but you need to kind of decide, like, do I want my artist project with my name on it? Or do I want to sing other people's songs and do covers or tribute bands? And so that was like a big question I asked myself. And then I started writing when some of my friends like all pitched in like at a big birthday party, and they got me like a mini ukulele, and then cool. I just wouldn't like.
Did you know how to play? I assume you didn't.
Yeah, no, I didn't know how to play at the time. But I mean, the ukulele is like pretty easy to like pick up, just like basic chords. I can't. Basic chords. That's kind of how I start. I learned like 3 chords. And then I learned that most of pop music is like 3-4 chords.
As Ed Sheeran always says.
Yeah, exactly. And then I kind of ran with it and started writing songs. you know, whether they were good or not, that's like another discussion. But it kind of like opened that option for me.
Yeah.
And then a YouTuber at the time that did a lot of covers, I saw that in her bio, she had like that she was studying songwriting at a uni called ICMP. And I was like, I didn't even know you could study songwriting. Like, is that even a thing? And
you just make it up, right?
Yeah. And turns out it's a thing. It's like, it was a whole degree, and like there was, I just learned so much when I was there. And I think they really pushed you to, like, it's not one of those degrees where like the diploma actually matters. It's more like the work you put into
the experience.
Yeah. And like, you know, again, I wouldn't say I graduated being a great songwriter, but I feel like they instilled that like discipline of like just writing as much as you can will make you a good writer. It's not something that just kind of like falls on you, like a good song will kind of.
So when you came to the UK, you did that degree. What were the sort of like first steps now you've taken on all this kind of like ambition from seeing your sister and like being at home and then seeing everything that you'd learned at uni in the UK? What was like those first steps getting out there, playing gigs, finding your circle and like recording, maybe like thinking about recording your own songs? Because as you said, like it was complete from ground zero.
It was terrifying and overwhelming just because, so I used to have terrible stage fright. Like just, we're talking like I would really, you know, just be so anxious. I would get like red marks all over like my chest and just like kind of just, you know, not have control of my breathing, which is kind of important when you're singing. It's like, that's like kind of the number one.
That's the basics.
It's the basics. So I remember when I moved to the UK, I was like, if I want to do this, I have to sort this out. Like I have to find a way to not have incredible stage fright. It's taken me years, but I think one of the ways is that when I came here, I was kind of accepting any gig opportunity so that I could just like work myself like out of that.
Jumping into the deep end.
Yeah, just jumping into the deep end. Like, I mean, I was doing gigs for like some nachos. They wouldn't even pay me.
No way.
Like, it was just like.
Just give me some Doritos, I'll be fine.
And I'll be fine. Because, I have more self-respect now.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, it was just, I wanted to, just push myself out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And a big part of it was also busking. I started busking and it was terrifying, but it just made me get over myself a bit and just be like, oh, people don't care that much. Like not in a cynical way, but it's more like if they don't like it, most people will just like walk on by and you can just do your thing.
I do feel like people are very, especially for artists coming up through the grassroots and, you know, finding their feet. Yeah. It's a very 50-50 thing for a lot of artists. It's like I feel like a lot of artists I hear about either just stick with just the busking or they'll just try and play any venue or event they can. So I guess you did a bit of both. Media, right? You did a bit of the split between the two.
Yeah, I was trying to do both and just like perform as much as I could. And I kind of got into, at the time, So Far Sounds was like a huge thing. And I got into that by volunteer. So I was volunteering for So Far Sounds for like a year or two. That's how I met a lot of people, met a lot of artists, which was really cool because I feel like, you know, when you start from the ground up, you don't have a community here. You kind of have to start somewhere. Yeah. And then eventually they picked up that I was an artist as well. And then they started booking me. And I think I did like around 15 shows before COVID, like with So Far. So I feel like that really helped.
You were getting somewhere and then like everyone was, it's like, oh.
And then COVID hit.
God's sake.
But it was, it just got me to a point where I was like, I can do this. But I feel like even... Like now it's better, but I would say at the time, even then, it would really depend on the day. Because you know, like the line between nerves and excitement is like, it's actually like an incredibly similar feeling, but you kind of, your head decides on the day which one it is.
We'll go with that one.
We'll go with that one. And it's like, I feel like I have to, you know, lie to myself and say that I'm, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. Yeah.
So what, just finishing up on all of that, what's more daunting? You launching out of uni and trying to establish yourself as an artist, or coming to a country that you have no like track record with, history with?
I think definitely like post uni, like making your way. Because I feel like, you know, because I was 18, I think you're just like, fuck it.
To hell with it,
I don't know if I can I
do
swear?
what you like. Yes.
Yeah, you're just like in a different mindset where I was just like, I want to do what it takes, whatever it takes to kind of get my name out there and just like try out things. And I just, you know, I just felt like London was the right place. Initially, the actual place where I wanted to go was New York.
Oh,
But I mean, just the price tag.
one
of
continent
that,
at a time.
it was intense. So it's just like, I was just like, you know, let's stay closer to home as well. Because it was really easy. I was quite homesick for the first year, to be honest.
Yeah, obviously that's one a big thing as well, I guess. But
because it was like a massive change, because you're like, you become an adult, you're responsible for a lot more things, and you realize, oh fuck, like there's a lot of things that you need to think about. Yeah. And then just like missing my family. A lot.
But it sounds like, and I guess it's a testament to the UK and the Grassroots, that it really embraced you.
Yeah, it really did. Like I feel like, especially at uni, you know, everyone wants to mingle. Yeah. And it was just like, everyone wanted to make friends, and it was really good. And then, you know, obviously you guys having the BBC introducing Pipeline. Yes. I feel like that's an incredible thing that you guys have. And I think it's you do have these things in Switzerland now. Maybe I wasn't aware of it at the time as well. Because obviously like in Switzerland, there's like the German side, the French side. So it's like, you know, sometimes you don't realize that there's opportunities, like just, you know. Yeah, it's all cross, but you can't do everything all at once. Yeah, exactly. One thing at a time. And and I think you picked me up for the first time, like with the BBC introducing. You're the one that picked up my songs for the first time, which was cool. Well, I was in COVID when I was living in. And so did a lot of other people. Sorry? So did a lot of other people. Yeah. But obviously for the right reason. So coming on, I guess, to a point to your music, it's like this pop rock angsty like inspired sound, which kind of always has a catchy melody to it. How would you say you, I don't know, found and sort of like developed that place you wanted to go to, and for it to evolve as well to where it is now? Like, has it been a very kind of innate thing? Has it been like you've got advice from other songwriters or people that you've met, or maybe it's a mixture of all of them? I think it just took me a very, very long time. Like, I think, you know, obviously like artist development is a huge thing. Like that's, you know, just to know who you are as an artist is a big thing. And I think I always talk about it with my boyfriend because he's in a band. So I feel like when you start a band, usually you start a band because you have like common, shared love, you know, like shared love for certain bands. And then it's kind of like the sound is obvious, and then the sound informs the visuals. Whereas I feel like if you're a solo artist, unless you've really got like one genre that you listen to, it's kind of hard to like narrow it back down. Because you know, there was like the big vocalists that I used to listen to, and then there was like bands that I used to love listening to, like The Fray or One Republic, which is like, you know, a completely different sound than Cristina Aguilera. Yeah. Then when I was listening to a lot of, you know, emerging artists when I moved here, like Griff and like more synthy stuff. And then I also, before moving, actually, I did like a couple of features on, you know, like 2016 was like big with like chill mixes, like chill lo-fi hop. Literally. And so I did a few like guest vocals on that. Okay. And I was just honestly just quite confused about how I wanted to sound like. And, you know, I think it came with just exploring lots and lots of music. And, you know, like kind of struggling because I was like, I like this, but this doesn't make sense with this song. So it was just like, and it's actually, it took me a lot of releasing to even realize what it is that I want to sound like or look like. But I think after the release of my last EP, I was like, even with the visuals, I was still a bit confused because I was like, it's almost like I'm trying to like put the puzzle pieces together like too late in the process. And so after that EP, I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna just listen to a bunch of music and just like, just let my creative self roam again. Because I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to just release, you know, because they're like, you have to release to move your project along. But it's like, if you're not ready, what you're doing is like, you're just stressing yourself out for no valid reason. And so for a good year, like I just stopped putting, you know, random deadlines on my project. And I was just like, I'm going to listen to a lot of music, go to a lot of gigs, see what I like and see what I gravitate towards naturally. And a lot of the songs I was listening to was just like, you know, pop rock songs and like band stuff. And for some reason, for ages, I didn't want guitar on my music, even though that's the only instrument that I play. It's like, it made no sense. You wanted like synth out of nowhere. Like, let's get this pad. Yes, let's get this synth going that I cannot play. And it's almost like I stopped putting these random like barriers on my music. And then I was like letting it be what it wanted to be. Which we're all guilty of in whatever situation. Yeah, where you put like expectations thoughts in our head, and like, or just, you know, and eventually with the music that I was writing, I was like, there's very much like a clear through line as well. And I think, to be honest as well, there was a lot of just like letting my emotions speak. Like I'm quite like an opinionated person, but I feel like a lot of the music I was doing was kind of holding back. I was allowing myself to show my, you know, sad emotions, which you're allowed to do as a woman. But I feel like anger is like a whole other topic as a woman, where you're like, oh, you can't say that, or you can't be too loud, or things like that. And where, you know, everything gets kind of misconstrued. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I am angry. So I am going to write about how I feel and be opinionated and just tell people to fuck off if I want to tell them that, you know. It's just like, I just stopped caring so much about looking a certain way and being too nice and things like that. And then
in a tunnel,
the music kind of came together, and I was like, these are the songs I'm really, really excited about. The whole other thing was then finding funding for that music, because it's incredibly difficult, you know, especially if you've released and there's not necessarily been those massive numbers. Like the industry aren't necessarily rushing to give you a load of money to record more.
Because obviously there are so many artists like yourself, especially
in the industry nowadays, where like, you know, it's kind of hard to get a development deal and things like that. So the big thing was getting funding. And honestly, the light at the end of the tunnel was the Help Musicians Fund that I got last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
In December, it funded the 3 singles. And I mean, because I really believed in this music, but I was like, I can't show it to anyone if I can't finish it. And they basically made me able to finish it. And the first opportunity I got with that new music is the Louis Tomlinson thing.
Wow.
So like, because it wasn't released yet, it's just they wanted a music link as part of the competition.
Oh my God.
So it's like, it's insane that it's like the butterfly effect of, if I hadn't applied for Help Musicians, or if I hadn't got it, that never would have happened because of lack of funding.
Yeah, the project you're talking about, before we get to just the 2 names you just dropped there, it was a live EP, right?
Which one?
Was it the one you got through the fund, or was it just like a usual EP project? So because
I got it twice. I got it back in 2020 for another EP. And then I got it again in December last year. And that was for the funding of my upcoming EP. So I've only released 1 song out of that EP.
But one of those, the way the point of that is like, you got that help, you got that funding, which enabled you to put yourself out there. You could complete it and finish it. Yeah,
because I finished the music, and then I had so many ideas for the visuals. But it's like, you know, it's like if you're self-funding everything, you just don't have the money to do everything you have in mind. Like I have so many ideas, and then every time it's just like, how do I oversimplify everything back to something that I personally can afford, which is like a bit frustrating.
Yeah, no, because like,
but I'm so grateful I got it, because
look at where it's led now.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
And yes, now of late, it's been a pretty exciting time. As you mention it, you've supported some guy called Louis Tomlinson recently. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know who he is, to be fair. No, of course they do.
Yeah, my family didn't. I was like, oh my God. And they were like...
Sorry, your family didn't know who Louis Tomlinson was?
They know who One Direction is, but I think, you know...
They're not that deep.
Yeah, like my parents. My sisters knew.
They didn't have the posters on the wall.
Yeah. They didn't quite get there,
So tell me about how... this all happened. You get a support slot to play at one of Louis Tomlinson's gig, and the turnaround in getting to a Zurich show he was doing, which in itself is really cool, because that's all full circle.
Yeah, I know. It was, I think the universe really just like gave, for all the hard years, they were like, here you go.
Ta-da. So take me through from like when you found out to the end, if you can.
Yeah. Well, I'll take you even further than that.
Yeah, please.
So the reason I applied in the first place, so he was running a competition to have an emerging artist open for him. And I wasn't aware of that, but one of my fans kind of DM'd me on Instagram. She lived in Zurich, and she was like, you need to apply for this, because you need to open for him, because I want to see you live.
Because this has to happen.
This has to happen. Yeah, she was really like, this has to happen. And I was like, oh my God, that would be insane. But, you know, in my head, I was like, it's, you know,
hedging your bets.
The odds are tough. And I applied, and it was actually like quite refreshing, because the only thing they asked was like your email and a music link. You know, there's a lot of festival applications nowadays. They ask for your followers and ask for your listeners, but this was just like literally your music. And I was asking my boyfriend Louis, I was like, should I just apply with my unreleased stuff? Because obviously, like, there's the stuff that's out there. But I was like, but this is the music I want to like showcase.
Yeah.
And he was like, definitely put your next EP.
The next chapter.
It's like, that's what's gonna, that's where you're heading. And I applied with like a link to, I think 4 or 5 songs. And that was kind of like mid-June or end of June. I can't remember. And I remember that it was the last thing on my to-do list that day. And I nearly didn't do it because I was feeling a bit cynical. I was just like, everything is so hard.
God.
And I was like, why do I even bother? Because, you try so many things and then you get a lot of no's. So
we only have so much of the candle to burn, right?
Yeah. And so I was just like, whatever. But then I looked and it was just quite a quick one as well. So I was like, okay, no, I can do that. Yeah. And, left it, didn't expect to hear back. And then it was literally like so the show was on a Friday and it was the Monday. I get an email.
The same week.
Oh my God. I get an email at like 1 p.m. I was just doing boring admin work at home. And I looked like crap. And I was just like, just doing my emails. And I see that one come in. And I thought it was a scam because I was like, this is too good to be true. Like, what the fuck is this? I didn't believe it for a very long time.
They spelled like Louis Tomlinson wrong on the email or something.
I was like Googling the person who messaged me, and the company. And
Detective Hart at your service.
Yes, literally. I was going, because I think it was such an unbelievable opportunity that it's almost like I didn't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah,
even though
of
the
course.
offer was there. I was like, tone it down. So, and then I called my boyfriend who plays in my band. And I was like, are you free on Friday? Because I just got offered a slot to open for Louis Tomlinson at Zurich Open Air City. And he was like, what? And I repeated it and he was like, what do you mean?
Say that again.
Say that again. And it's quite funny because I actually had my laptop open, so I filmed on photo booth, just I was calling people. And actually, because it was a Monday afternoon, no one was picking up at first. So I thought I was going a bit crazy because I was like, maybe I'm just like, just like dreaming. And then I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel really shit.
So you were calling people to try and get a band together to play for you.
So there was 2 things. I was like trying to tell people and having them read the email to be like, am I reading this right?
Yeah, please help me.
Is this what they are saying? Like, is this real? And then the second thing, so Louis kind of came home because he didn't have a session that day. So he came home from the studio and I was like, I obviously have to say yes. And I want to say yes, but how do I do it? It's like, I don't know where to start to like get our gear and the band together like by Friday to Zurich.
Yeah, it's a big operation.
And so then I actually messaged a friend of mine who's a tour manager, Adam, and I think he was on tour at the time with Good Neighbors. He's like doing really well. He's always away, always away. And I messaged him and I'm like, are you by any chance free? And he was like, it's my 1 week off. And I was like, are you kidding me? So he took care of everything. He kind of organized the ferry, hiring the van.
Oh my God.
He had all the front of house sound stuff we needed. He had a carnet as well, which is like the boring stuff. But bands now need a passport for their gear. So it's like, if we hadn't had that, again, like everything would have been so much more complicated.
All these things have to fall into place.
And everything fell into place so nicely. And everyone was obviously like shifted things around their schedule because they were like, it's a pretty cool thing to do. So I called Alex, my drummer, and he was like, I'll be there no matter what. But the thing is, because I applied with new songs, none of these songs were actually my live show.
Oh, of course. And you hadn't practiced them or anything.
That Monday, I tried to get all the stems from the producers. On Tuesday, Alex was like musical, like MDing the whole set. Like adding the songs to the set. And then on Tuesday evening, we had the first rehearsal. Wednesday, another rehearsal. And then Thursday, we had a 7 a.m. rehearsal at Pirate Studios before leaving at 10 a.m. to drive to Zurich because flying was like...
Sorry, you drove to Zurich?
Drove to Zurich.
From London?
Yeah.
Oh my God. How long was that?
It was 17 hours because there were delays on the ferry. Like just to leave England took us like 7 or 8 hours. We were just waiting like, oh,
Louis, this is what she did for your show. Just putting this out here.
It was the best thing ever. Best 3 days of my life. And we actually got to Zurich at 1 a.m. and the show was the next day. We had to be there at 2. And honestly, like that week, I barely slept from the excitement, but also from the confusion of it all. Because I was like, I'm so confused. I had like 3 monthly listeners.
Yeah.
At the time, I hadn't released in a year. I was like, they're taking a huge bet on me.
Right. So like a proper imposter syndrome at that.
Yes.
That moment, yeah.
No, well, imposter syndrome, but also like what in the world?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've tried my best to get so many support slots. I'm always very proactive, and it's just always a no. But I just didn't expect that to be like my first big one.
Yeah.
Insane, and it was the best. Yeah, day of my life.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
So then you turn up to play at 2, and I guess you're doing
played those songs
some
live
stage rehearsal. Yeah,
ever.
you hadn't done them before.
So it was quite bold, but I was like, I have to. Yeah.
And then, so then when you go out to do the show and it's I assume you're out first?
Yes, yeah.
And obviously you're launching, you're supporting him.
Yeah.
Like you step out to the stage, what are the thoughts running through your head?
Honestly, I didn't believe, there's a video of me like right before I sing the first word, I'm just like, I look out the crowd and I'm like, wow, this is insane. Because I could, like, you know, there's like these little curtains that separate like the backstage from like the actual stage. Yeah. And I was kind of peeking through and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like, I was getting very, very nervous.
How many people?
5,000.
Oh.
And
wow.
like my gig before that was to 30 people as a reference. So I was like, or to like my pub gigs where I play to people who are having drinks.
Yeah. We've multiplied a little bit. Yeah.
No, it was just completely insane. And I think, just like the dichotomy of like performing a show like this. And the day before I got the news, I was actually in my Instagram story saying, I've played 5 function gigs in 4 days and I can't wait to be playing more of like my music. Yeah. And then that happened. Yeah. And I was like, insane. There
you go. The world is
there you go. Yeah, I should complain on my stories more often. See what happens the next day, you know. And well, I was manifesting it, but and then when it came to like actually stepping on stage, well, so just like as a background, it's something that he's done a few times. So his fan base is very open.
He's very supportive of
this.
He's
very supportive. He like actually like spotlights really small artists. And then gives them like a chance like this. And because of this, I think the fans, like his fans, are just very open-minded. Yeah. You know, I feel like as supports, you never really know what you're stepping into. Sure. And after we played this, like one of my team was like, don't get used to this because that's not how normal support slots like go.
He's like a guardian angel in
amongst it. And like his fans were just unbelievably supportive from, I remember the first song was Crash and halfway through the first verse they were like clapping along and I was
already
but like proper like they were like encouraging you know and from that point on I was like, you know, my job is to just like have the best time so that they can have the best time because it's like nobody wants to see a performer that's like really shy and really nervous. So I was really trying to like, I was like, when am I gonna get this opportunity again? You don't really know, so I wanted to really
I don't want to say it's like faking it so you're making it because you're not faking it, you know what you're doing, but kind of like almost that kind of not feeling nervous.
Exactly. And also just trying to really enjoy it because I was like I was looking out and I was like, this is the sort of view that I've put on my mood board for a lot of years. So I was like, I don't want to forget, you know, to just like
to pass by.
Yeah, for it to pass by and because I was nervous, you know. And I feel like I'm really glad because I feel like I really savored it. You know, I was just like having the best time and just being in complete disbelief and be like, oh my God. And my mom actually was able to come.
Oh, amazing.
Because it was like a 3 or 4 hour train ride to Zurich. And it was my first show.
She got the train, I drove.
So it was, like you say, like a pretty mad full circle. Yeah. Because I thought I got the slot because I couldn't remember. I was like, oh, was it only Swiss artists that could apply? I couldn't remember. So I was like, oh, I wonder if they picked me because I'm Swiss. Yeah. And then I spoke to the manager and he was like, oh, we didn't realize you were even from Swiss. I was like,
no
so this
way.
is really insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Had you been to that venue like when you were younger by any chance?
No, and it's like it's kind of like
an open
a
air
festival.
thing, right?
Yeah. Festival setup. And I mean, even when I was sound checking and I was looking at the amount of space in front of me, I was like, this is just insane.
I don't really know how the world of like the supporting of slots goes with maybe artists of that level or any level, but did you get to meet him afterwards?
Yeah,
oh, you did?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
He was lovely. Yeah.
What did he say? Did he watch the show?
No, I don't think he was able to, because I
Yeah.
guess, like as the headline, you've got like a million things to
His
do
own
and you're like
things to
sorting
do.
yourself out.
Yeah.
But I think he heard like great feedback from it, and he was just really lovely and very supportive, and said a few times, I don't know when, but we'll see each other again. So Louis, whenever you want, I'm opening for you again.
Well, just think he's got that festival he does in the States, hasn't he? It's called...
Well, I was actually invited like last minute to play, but it was just impossible because it was like 2 last minutes, and my sister's wedding weekend as well. So yeah, it was like the stars didn't align for that, but that's like...
Have you got the card marked for the future? You've got the card marked for the future?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but yeah.
You're going to call that one in?
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully manifesting for next year. I'm kind of manifesting, this is such a reach, that it's in Brazil, because I'm half Brazilian.
Yes.
And that I get to play my first show in Brazil, because that would make my grandparents very proud.
Up on that very iconic, where the I forget what the statue's called. Yeah. Just right up there.
Yeah.
That's where the gig is.
Yeah, exactly.
Thousands of feet up.
I don't think they'd allow that. But
I mean, just like, I guess just to meet him, to do the show, to do that journey.
It was incredibly like...
And all of that.
I felt seen for the first time by the industry,
Yeah. I just, how do you... And then there's like that feeling of like, I think you've sort of articulated it quite well, like, I'm not going to top this. Like, don't start thinking that maybe like, next week, next month, it will be a similar thing. I mean, great, of course, if it could be, but like...
But I think, you have...
That's a weird feeling as an artist, right? When you get...
I think exactly. Like as an artist, you don't really know when you're going to like do the biggest thing you'll ever have done. Like, of course, I'm hoping that if anything, that was more like a catalyst to like bigger things. Yeah. But because you don't know, I was kind of like, I savored it and I had a lot of fun with it. And I think now it's leading to other opportunities that are like obviously smaller, but that are still increasing, kind of like just growing the project. And
I mean, you say now, so you said earlier, you've noticed like a visible difference. And like, I guess there'll be other established or like emerging artists wanting to get established, listening to this, or like fans of their music, like craving to get maybe a similar kind of thing. And I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe what we've learned so far from what we've talked about, those artists really shouldn't be like actively going like, I need to get a slot like this. Like, what's your thought process and advice about that kind of thing?
My thought process is like, actually just take every opportunity you can get. Like, as in, no matter, like, kind of like what I said, that I nearly didn't apply for it. I think there are those opportunities out there, and it's kind of tough because 99% of the time it's a no. Like, the amount of times I've applied to funding as well, it's a no, but then you only need like one yes to get you to the next stage. So I think my advice would just be like, just really put yourself out there, because I feel like if you don't, then those opportunities are never gonna like come to you. So and then so you've been pretty busy, of course. After that, you've supported Brooke Alex, who's like this really cool it's a US artist on her European leg. And I bet as well with that, like, you could have only dreamed support slots like this a little while ago. But for artists and fans of music listening to this right now, like, you point to this Louis Tomlinson like moment as a big thing, but securing these kind of support slots, I feel like is a bit of just sort of an unknown like world, and territory. Like, how do artists sort of go about like maybe sort of getting into a place where they can get support slots and things? Is there a method to it? Well, the method ideally is if you have a booker, like a live booker. I don't have a live booker. I don't have a manager. Like, I don't have a team around me, but I feel like obviously the industry standard is you have a booker and then they kind of put you forward to like all these opportunities. If you don't have one, I think it's just like trying your best, like kind of like what I said, you know, just like taking, when people announce their tours, kind of, making sure that you're,
just reaching out in the DMs.
Reaching out in the DMs. You just really, really never know. And ironically, like, so Brooke, I didn't realize, but she's the one that found me. Like, when we were talking on the first date, like on the first date of the tour, she was telling me how she found me on social media because I was just posting really, really consistently, and she saw one of my Louis videos. And then it's kind of like, even if I had been even like shy about posting you know, because sometimes you can get a bit self-conscious about,
of course.
you know, putting yourself out
or
there.
if you're not in the
relentlessly.
mindset to do it,
Yeah, but you kind of have to do it. And then she found me through that. And so that's kind of how that happened, which was crazy, because I feel like when I was really manifesting, I was telling Louis how much I wanted like a tour in the fall. Yeah. And then that email came through. I was like, oh my God.
Everyone in like enclosed venues. It's well, maybe not sweaty because it's not summer, but it's warm, it's cozy.
Yeah. Oh, it was the best time. And it was like my first shows in kind of like I've done a couple outside of London, but it was my first show in Paris. Yeah. First couple shows in Germany. So I was like, this is happening, you know, it just feels nice.
All over the continent.
Yeah, worldwide. Actually, we were listening to this song in the van by Big Time Rush, Worldwide. This song.
Yeah.
It's, that was like the van.
I thought you was going to say Pitbull or something instead, but you said
it
that.
It was just worldwide, with the choreography
That's
and everything.
me.
Yeah, literally.
So like you mentioned about how Brooke found you through socials. Does it annoy you that is kind of a way that she came across you, or do you embrace all this like social media?
I
and
embrace it because in my case, most things good that have happened have been through social media. Like, not, you know, like there's artists that get a chance, you know, through industry buzz, like whether it's like because you've had like a big like
word on the street or that kind of
or
thing.
like word on the street. But I feel like unless you've really got like a couple people in the industry that really believe in you, and that are putting you forward for these opportunities, if you don't have those people backing you, the only person backing you is kind of like yourself. So then if you don't put yourself out there, I think it's just really hard to get that initial support. And I feel like I'm still, I wouldn't say like struggling, but as in like, it's still hard to get industry to kind of like help out. But I feel like social media for me has been like a game changer. Like the, you know, Never Be Her, that song was kind of like the whole reason it got the numbers it did was social media. And then obviously it's hard to replicate. Like it's not like there's a recipe, because otherwise everyone would be going viral every day. But I feel like just what I've learned is consistency, because even if it doesn't look like your posts are necessarily like reaching this like whole new scale of people, like people do take note that you're consistently showing up. And I think that counts for a lot, you know?
And they might come back to it and see what you've been doing.
Exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. Like not being scared to shout about what you're up to. Even if you're just singing songs in your bedroom, like posting those videos, you know?
Yeah. As we say on every single episode of Breakthrough, we are very passionate about the grassroots. It's a big reason why we're doing this podcast. How much has the grassroots been able to help create these opportunities for you, especially as an artist coming from a completely different country? I know we touched on a few things earlier, but specifically about those first gigs you might have been doing in London or around. I think in the career of any like small artist, I think grassroots venues and like opportunities like BBC Introducing are really where a lot of the learning happens, you know, because obviously like you can be like plucked and like thrown into like massive stages, and then it's like that's a whole different thing. But I feel like a lot of people, that's where you learn like your stagecraft or like getting over your stage fright, and I think that's incredibly like valuable. And this might be quite hard to pluck one out of all the gigs you've done, but is there like a real particular moment that sticks with you at a gig in wherever you've played, and you kind of just like you've had a reaction from a crowd, or you've played the song live for the 50th time and you're like, oh, okay, like I get this a bit more now?
So when we played that Brooke Alex tour in Paris, that was quite magical. That night there was just like an energy in the room where it was just like quite packed, and just I don't know if it's the fact that we were in Paris or you know, it was just like everything felt really exciting. And I think that was maybe the first night of the tour, because it was like the third show, but it was the first night where I was really quite confident in the just because I was playing guitar for the first time in a very long time, like electric guitar. So I think the first couple shows I was like kind of getting myself into it, but by that point I think I was just like really embracing it, and it was just really fun, and that was a huge moment. And I feel like I was, you know, when you feel like you've got the crowd like on your side, it just felt... They say like in the palm of your hand, don't they? Yeah. That's a cool thing. And it was just really cool. Really cool. And aside from the support slots that we've talked about there and the recent successes up to now, like what are you most proud of in your journey so far? We can go as deep as you like, or surface level as you want, because maybe when you've had time to like stop and soak it all up, if you do get that time. Does it have to be like one specific thing, or can it be
No,
like a
you can-
I think
Whatever you want.
in all of it, I would say my resilience, because it's hard. Like you don't you do a lot of sacrifices, like whether it's like social or like financially. Like there's a lot of sacrifices that come to make just like to keep showing up every day.
Yeah.
And it's like it's finally starting to pay off. So I get a bit like emotional because now I'm like, oh, like I'm glad me from like 2 years ago stuck it out, or like even as early as like this year, because like I got that funding in December, but I was very, very ill in December, January, like lots of health issues, and my family kind of sat me down for an intervention in March,
Right.
you know, because they love me and they care about me.
Yeah.
But they were like, maybe it's time to like pack it in, move back to Switzerland. Like they meant
even at this point.
So
sort
it
of
was
like
before,
this
I guess.
far on.
Yeah.
But I guess even before,
it's hard.
put the Louis Tomlinson thing aside, which obviously was great. Like you were still getting noticed
but
and stuff.
It was tricky. I think you know, like financially, you're just like always like struggling a bit, and it's just like there's a lot of disappointments that come with it. You know, like it's like you get really excited, and then you kind of get a no, and it kind of like knocks you. It's like 2 steps forwards, 3 steps back sort of situation until it's not.
Yeah.
But in a sense, like because they meant it with like all the love in the world, you know, they were just worried about me because it's like they see that it's like tough out here.
Yeah.
And they were trying to convince me to like move back to Switzerland, kind of maybe take up a different career. And I was like, in a way, that conversation was really useful because it made me realize how much I still want this.
Love it. Yeah.
Because you know, like when you like actually stop everything, you're like, okay, I need to ask myself, do I still want this, or am I just honoring
where are we going?
like 16-year-olds me dreams? And it turns out like I came back, I was like, no, do you know what? Like I want to give this like my 120%. And yeah, I feel like since making that decision, I've actually shown up for myself a lot more consistently because I'm like, if this is what I want to do, I have to actually like go for it. There's no point in like half-assing it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And one of like the final few things I want to finish on is that you've referenced it a little bit throughout this, I think. You took like some time out for yourself and I think it was like I see you mentioned it's like a bit of a mental health break, but also just to like help you discover yourself as a bit as an artist, like the next step. Like how important is that for artists to be doing, especially in today's day and age? I mean, even like the artists that are, have got a big platform as they do at the moment, like Sam Fender, Lewis Capaldi, Lola Young, like they've all taken time out. Like, but even of course artists at any level, how key was that for you to do that?
I think that was so important to like just hit the brakes for a second, because you know, like you can get into like this sort of like rat race mindset where, oh, if I don't release, or if I don't do this, or if I don't post or whatever, like everything's gonna stop and everything's gonna disappear. But it's like if you've got nothing to like say in your music, or like, you know, if you're not living your life, if you're just like you know, too much like spending too much time on your phone, or just like not really like feeding your creative self and just like having your social life, I think it's really hard to like show up and be inspired and write a song that has any sort of connection and meaning
impact
with yourself. So I think taking those breaks when you feel like you need them is really, really important. That's something that like I'm getting better at, because I'm like, it's actually, it's horrible to say this, but it's like the more productive thing to do is to take a break. Even though it's like, it's kind of like toxic to say this. But I feel like that was incredibly valuable. And now I'm more of the mindset where like you show up consistently, but like also listen to your body. And
I guess that's what your family was kind of getting at.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
Little bit, and could see that.
Like to not push myself so hard. And to like, I guess what I've learned is to like work a bit smarter, not like overworking yourself to the bone.
And maybe you see this in a completely different way, because I know you came from Switzerland to the UK, so it's country to country. But for artists that you hear a conversation a lot about, oh, I need to move to London because like that's where all the opportunities are, or like if I move to this city, like I feel like things will go a bit better. What would you say to artists that like want to take the jump to go to one of these cities and they think that like, you know, things will be unlocked for them? Like, is there any sort of wisdom you could impart on that?
I think it really depends. I don't really know, because I feel like it depends on like the kind of person you are, because I feel like going to London and like throwing myself in the deep end here was like the right decision. But I also do think like it comes with its own set of like challenges where like, you know, it's easy to like romanticize and like glamorize kind of like, oh, it's London, but it's like, it's actually quite difficult. Like rent is really expensive. So it's like, if you can stay at your parents and have more time to maybe, I don't know, like spend on your actual craft, maybe that's the best thing for you. I think it's like really like on a case by case situation where I felt like in Switzerland at the time where I came from, like there wasn't much of a music scene for like pop, you know, like small grassroots venues. It's more like classical music or just like really big venues. But like there wasn't
no stepping stone.
Yeah, exactly. And you need those little stepping stones. And I feel like that was the reason I thought it was the right, you know, decision for me. But I feel like depending on where you live,
of course,
it's not necessarily like,
I know you can't answer everyone, but you have a unique perspective. I thought it'd be quite interesting to see what you think. Thank you so much.
Such a yes or no.
No, of
sorry.
course it is. No, absolutely. And finally, what are you most looking forward to in the near future? Because like you must just feel like you came back and sort of like these support slots have happened and like the hard work before has paid off. Do you feel very much the same kind of like that's what you want to see in the future in the next 6 months, 12 months?
I feel like so the goal, because I guess coming back to it, like because I started as a singer, the goal has always been to like perform and like the music is also like a reason to like then play shows. And for years that was the difficult things was to like get booked for shows. So I feel like what I'm really looking forward to is I'm hoping to have like, you know, artists have festival season. So I'm hoping to have my first like festival season next year and just maybe do like a first like little headline tour, like a small one, but that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Conrad. It's been absolutely such a pleasure to have you here.
Same here.
Can we finish on maybe speaking to your fans of a French-speaking nature and say thank you for listening? This has been Breakthrough.
And
I don't know what it means.
Wait, let me switch my brain.
Sorry, that's quite an ask. I just thought it'd be really cool.
Merci d'avoir écouté ce podcast avec Jake et on se revoit bientôt.
What she said. Thanks.